Hi, we are going to continue on with Tale of Despereaux, and once again be on the lookout for our Zoom chat on Friday. It'll be one of our last ones. We'll have one more after that, and I hope it'll be really fun for you guys, so please join. Chapter 26, Royalty. When Mig turned 7 years old, there was no cake, no celebration, no singing, no present, no acknowledgement of her birthday at all other than Mig saying, "Uncle, today I'm 7 years old." And Uncle sang in return, "Did I ask ye how old you were? Get out of my face before I give ye a good clout to the ear." A few hours after receiving her birthday clout to the ear, Mig was out in the field with Uncle's sheep when she saw something glittering and glowing on the horizon. She thought for a moment that it was the sun, but she turned and saw that the sun was in the west, where it should be, sinking to join the earth. This thing that shone so brightly was something else. Meg stood in the field and shaded her eyes with her left hand and watched the brilliant light draw closer and closer and closer until it revealed itself to be King Philip and his Queen Rosemary and their daughter, the young Princess P. The royal family was surrounded by knights in shining armor and horses in shining armor. And atop each member of the royal family's head there was a golden crown, and they were all, the king and the queen and the princess, dressed in robes decorated with jewels and sequins that glittered and glowed and captured the light of the setting sun and reflected it back. "Gore," breathed Meg. The Princess P was riding on a white horse that picked up its legs very high and set them down very daintily. The P saw Meg standing and staring, and she raised a hand to her. "Hello," the Princess P called out merrily. "Hello," and she waved her hand again. Meg did not wave back. Instead, she stood and watched. Open-mouthed as the perfect, beautiful family passed her by. "Papa," called the princess to the king, "what is wrong with the girl? She will not wave to me." "Never mind," said the king. "It is of no consequence, my dear. But I am a princess, and I wave to her. She should wave back." Meg, for her part, continued to stare. Looking at the royal family had awakened some deep and slumbering need in her. It was as if a small candle had been lit in her interior, sparked to life by the brilliance of the king and the queen and the princess. For the first time in her life, reader, Meg hoped. And hope is like love, a ridiculous, wonderful, powerful thing. Meg tried to name this strange emotion. She put a hand up to touch one of her aching ears, and she realized that the feeling she was experiencing, the hope blooming inside of her, felt exactly like the opposite of a good clout. She smiled and took her hand away from the ear. She waved to the princess. "Today is my birthday," Meg called out, but the king and the queen and the princess were by now too far away to hear her. "Today," shouted Meg, "I am 7 years old." Chapter 27, A Wish. That night in the small dark hut that she shared with Uncle and the sheep, Meg tried to speak of what she had seen. "Uncle," she said, I saw some human stars today." "How's that?" "I saw them all glittering and glowing, and there was a little princess wearing her own crown and riding on a little white tippy-toed horse." "What are you going on about?" said Uncle. "I saw a king and a queen and an itty-bitty princess," shouted Meg. "So?" shouted Uncle back. "I would like," said Meg shyly. "I wish to be one of them princesses." "Har," laughed Uncle. "An ugly, dumb thing like you? You ain't even worth the enormous lot I paid for you. Don't I wish every night that I had back the good hen and the red tablecloth in place of you?" He did not wait for Meg to guess the answer to this question. "I do," he said. "I wish it every night. That tablecloth was the color of blood. That hen could lay eggs like nobody's business." "I want to be a princess," said Meg. "I want to wear a crown." "A crown," Uncle laughed. "She wants to wear a crown." He laughed harder. He took the empty kettle and put it atop his head. "Look at me," he said. "I'm a king. See my crown? A king just like I always wanted to be. I'm a king because I want to be one." He danced around the hut with the kettle on his head. He laughed until he cried, and then he stopped dancing and took the kettle from his head and looked at Meg and said, "Do you want a good clout to the ear for such nonsense?" "No, thank you, Uncle," said Meg, but she got one anyway. "Look here," said Uncle after the clout had been delivered. "We will hear no more talk of princesses. Besides, whoever asked you what you wanted to be in this world, girl?" The answer to that question, reader, as well as you know, was absolutely no one. Chapter 28. To the Castle. Years passed. Meg spent them scrubbing the kettle and tending the sheep and cleaning the hut and collecting innumerable, uncountable, extremely painful cloths to the ear. In the evening, spring or winter, summer or fall, Meg stood in the field as the sun set, hoping that the royal family would pass her before her again. Gore, I would like to see that little princess another time, wouldn't I? And her little pony, too, with its tippy-toed feet. This hope, this wish, that she would see the princess again, was lodged deep in Meg's heart. Lodged firmly right next to it was the hope that she, Meggery Sow, could someday become a princess herself. The first of Meg's wishes was granted in a roundabout way. When King Philip outlawed soup, the king's men were sent out to deliver the grim news and to collect from the people of the kingdom of Dor their kettles, their spoons, and their bowls. Reader, you know exactly how and why this law came to pass, so you would not be surprised as Uncle was when, one Sunday, a soldier of the king knocked on the door of the hut that Meg and Uncle and the sheep shared and announced that soup was against the law. How's that? Said Uncle. By royal order of King Philip, repeated the soldier. I am sent here to tell you that soup has been outlawed in the kingdom of Dor. You will, by order of the king, never consume soup, nor will you think of it or talk of it. And I, as one of the king's loyal servants, am here to take from you your spoons, your kettle, and your bowls. But that can't be, said Uncle. Nevertheless, it is. What'll we eat, and what'll we eat with? Cake, suggested the soldier, with a fork. And wouldn't that be lovely, said Uncle, if we could afford to eat cake? The soldier shrugged. I am only doing my duty. Please hand over your spoons, your bowls, and your kettle. Uncle grabbed hold of his beard. He let go of his beard and grabbed the hair on his head. Unbelievable, he shouted. I suppose next the king will be wanting my sheep and my girl, seeing as those are the only possessions I have left. Do you own a girl? Said the soldier. I do, said Uncle, a worthless one, but still, she is mine. Ah, said the soldier, that, I am afraid, is against the law too. No human may own another human in the kingdom of Dor. But I paid for her fair and square with a good laying hen and a handful of cigarettes and a blood-red tablecloth. No matter, said the soldier, it is against the law to own another. Now, you will hand over to me, if you please, your spoons, your bowls, your kettle, and your girl. Or if you choose not to hand over these things, then you will come with me to be imprisoned in the castle dungeon. Which will it be? And that is how Meggery Sow came to be sitting in a wagon full of soup-related items next to a soldier of the king. Do you have parents? Said the soldier. I will return you to them. Eh? A ma? Shouted the soldier. Dead, said Meg. Your pa? Shouted the soldier. I ain't seen him since he sold me. Right. I'll take you to the castle then. Gore, said Meg, looking around the wagon in confusion. You want me to paddle? To the castle? Shouted the soldier. I'll take you to the castle. The castle? Where the itty-bitty princess lives? That's right. Gore, said Meg, I aim to be a princess too someday. That's a fine dream, said the soldier. He clucked to the horse and tapped to the reins, and they took off. I'm happy to be going, said Meg, putting a hand up and gently touching one of her cauliflower ears. Might as well just be happy, seeing as a lot of it doesn't make a difference to anyone but you, if you are or not, said the soldier. We will take you to the castle, and we will set you up fine. You will no longer be a slave. You will be a paid servant. Eh? Said Meg. You will be a servant, shouted the soldier, not a slave. Gore, said Meg, satisfied. A servant I will be, not a slave. She was 12 years old. Her mother was dead. Her father had sold her. Her uncle, who wasn't her uncle at all, had clotted her until she was almost deaf, and she wanted, more than anything in the world, to be a little princess wearing a golden crown and riding a high-stepping white horse. Reader, do you think that is a terrible thing to hope when there is really no reason to hope at all? Or is it, as the soldier said about happiness, something that you might as well just do, since in the end it really makes no difference to anyone but you? Chapter 29. Start with the curtsy and finish with the thread. Meggery Sow's luck continued. On her first day on the job as a castle servant, she was sent to deliver a spool of red thread to the princess. Mind, said the head of the serving staff, a dour woman named Louise. She is royalty, so you must make sure you curtsy. How's that? Shouted Meg. You must curtsy, shouted Louise. Gore, said Meg. Yes, ma'am. She took the spool of thread from Louise and made her way up the golden stairs to the princess's room, talking to herself as she went. Here I am, off to see the princess. Me, Meggery Sow, seeing the princess up close and personal-like. And first off, I must curtsy because she is royalty. At the door to the princess's room, Meg had a sudden crisis of confidence. She stood a moment, clutching the spool of thread and muttering to herself. Now, how did that go? She said. Give the princess the thread and then give her a curtsy? No. First the curtsy and then the thread. That's it. Gore. That's right. That's the order. Start with the curtsy and finish with the thread. She knocked at the princess's door. Enter, said the P. Meg, hearing nothing, knocked again. Enter, said the P. And Meg, still hearing nothing, knocked yet again. Maybe, she said to herself, the princess ain't to home. But then the door was flung wide open, and there was the princess herself, staring right at Meggery Sow. Gore, said Meg, her mouth hanging open. Hello, said the P. Are you the new serving maid? Have you brought me my thread? Curtsy I must, shouted Meg. She gathered her skirts, dropped the spool of thread, stuck a foot out, and stepped on the spool, rocked back and forth for what seemed like quite a long time, both to the watching princess and the rocking Meg, and finally fell to the floor with a Meggish thud. Whoopsie, said Meggery Sow. The P could not help it. She laughed. That's all right, she said to Meg, shaking her head. It's in the spirit of the thing that counts. How's that? Shouted Meg. It's the spirit of the thing that counts, shouted P. Thank you, miss, said Meg. She got slowly to her feet. She looked at the princess. She looked down at the floor. First the curtsy and then the thread, Meg muttered. Pardon, said the P. Gore, said Meg. The thread. She dropped to her hands and knees to locate the spool of thread. When she found it, she stood back up and offered it to P. I brought you your thread, didn't I? Lovely, said the princess as she shook the thread from Meg. Thank you so much. I cannot seem to hold a spool of red thread. Everyone I have disappears somehow. Are you making a thing? Asked Meg, squinting at the cloth in the P's hand. I am making a history of the world. My world, said the P, and tapestry. See? Here is my father, the king, and he is playing the guitar because that is something he loves to do, and does quite well. And here is my mother, the queen. She is eating soup because she loves soup. Soup, Gore, that's against the law. Yes, said the princess. My father outlawed it because my mother died while she was eating it. Your ma's dead? Yes, said the P. She died just last month. She bit her bottom lip to stop it from trembling. Ain't that the thing? Said Meg. My mom is dead too. How old were you when she died? Bold was I? Said Meg, taking a step back away from the princess. I'm sorry then. No. How old were you? Shouted the P. Not but 6, said Meg. I'm sorry, said the princess. She gave Meg a quick, deep look of sympathy. How old are you now? 12 years. So am I, said the princess. We're the same age. What is your name? She shouted. Meggery Sow, but most just calls me Meg. And I saw you once before, princess. You passed by me on our little white horse, on my birthday. It was me, and I was in the field with my uncle's sheep, and it was sunset time. Did I wave to you? Asked the princess. Did I wave? Shouted the P. Yes, nodded Meg. But you didn't wave back, said the princess. I did, said Meg, only you didn't see. Someday I will sit on a little white horse and wear a crown and wave. Someday, said Meg, and she put up a hand to touch her left ear. I will be a princess too. Really? Said the P, and she gave Meg another quick, deep look, but said nothing else. When Meg finally made her way back down to the golden stairs, Louise was waiting for her. How long, she roared, did it take you to deliver a spool of thread to the princess? Too long? Guessed Meg. That's right, said Louise, and she gave Meg a good clout to the ear. You are not destined to be one of our star servants. That is already abundantly clear. No, ma'am, said Meg. That's all right, though, because I aim to be a princess. You? A princess? Don't make me laugh. This, reader, was a little joke on Louise's part, as she was not a person who laughed. Ever. Not even at a notion of ridiculous Miggery Cell becoming a princess.